Excellent. And we are going to briefly review a couple things on the CAMHLAB prospectus at Freemanstown. And so, Yet, if you want to start us off with that.
Yeah, so we wanted to let you know that CAMHLAB is an ongoing artist in resident initiative that supports artists working within and in partnership with the museum to develop new work and ideas. CAMHLAB offers critical and early stage direct support of artists' process and production of new and timely work through short-term residencies, as well as long-term collaborations with artists. And CAMHLAB seeks to connect artists directly with audiences through catalytic and unexpected experiences of contemporary art. For this context-specific iteration of CAMHLAB at Freedmanstown, artists will be selected for projects that highlight, honor, and animate the critical histories and stories of Freedmanstown in collaboration with Houston Freedmanstown Conservancy.
And the purpose of place-based residencies is threefold. One, to share the story of emancipation in a way that is contemporary, relevant, and impactful in a large metropolitan city. Two, to signal Freemanstown's intent to serve as a leading artistic and spiritually significant storytelling center for Black art and artists in the Southern US, and to amplify Black voices within historic Freemanstown. And three, to support the regeneration of Freemanstown community through workshops and skill shares that promote healing. Further, the invited slate of artists will highlight the extraordinary cultural resource of artists living and working in Houston. All this information is available online, but we also want to lead with it so that we can cover that for context as well as the prompt that you'll be responding to. And so applicants are encouraged to submit innovative project proposals that center regeneration and healing for Freemanstown legacy residents living in the community. The questions to consider is, how will your residency impact the Freemanstown community? How can your project engage with the Rebirth in Action research fellows to connect your project to the historic legacy of Freemanstown? And how can your project equip Freemanstown legacy residents through the workshops and skill shares that can be sustained in the community after completing your residency? And so all of that is included in the actual application within Submittable. For more context on even the Rebirth in Action fellows, review the prospectus, and that'll kind of speak a bit more to that. And we can also answer any of those questions on the call today. But first, we'll just hop into the initial set of FAQs that we provided. And so I'm just going to read through them and give some context for them. So CAMHLAB at Freemanstown FAQs. Where is CAMHLAB at Freemanstown Hub and Community Support located? And so CAMHLAB at Freemanstown Hub is located at Post, formerly the Barbara Davis Post Office, located in historic Freemanstown. And so that's a bit of historic information. The location that we most know as Post today was originally in Freemanstown historically, and was historically named after Barbara Davis. This location will provide access to meeting rooms, co-working and desks, and printers. Additionally, Houston Freemanstown staff and HFTC and CAM lead research fellow offices are located here. So throughout your project, there'll be opportunities for you to connect more directly with the lead research fellow as you begin to imagine how the project that you're imagining can actually have context within a historical perspective of Freemanstown. Those meetings that you'll have, those touch bases, any space that you'll need to just have to connect and just work, that'll all exist at the Post. As far as the community goes, CAMHLAB at Freemanstown Community Support is located at Freemanstown Association. This location provides direct access to the community of Freemanstown and is managed by HFTC and CAM engagement manager Sharonda Johnson, who the selected candidates would have an opportunity to meet and engage with. And the significance of this location is it already kind of operates as a community center, ad hoc community center for the legacy residents of Freemanstown. And so the opportunity for you to be able to engage there is to have a touch point landing spot in the community whenever you're imagining your work and participation with the legacy residents and with the city of Houston at large. That is sorry, slide I should have deleted. I apologize about that. How long is the residency? So the duration of each residency will span for 1 month, or approximately 1 month, over the months of April, May, June, July, August, September, and October. Applicants should note any schedule restrictions or flexibility they may have. And so as you're reviewing the application, you'll see that we've provided options to select a first and second choice of the months that you prefer to be activated in. Those will really be determined by the schedule of events of the overall project that we have working in the community of Freemanstown. Ideally, we will be able to place each artist in the ideal month for their proposal to happen. And we're also asking you to be open and consider a contingency month for your project. What resources does the museum have available to me as a CAMHLAB resident? CAM will provide CAMHLAB at Freemanstown artists in residency and honorarium of $1,500 for the duration of their residency month. The honorarium includes and covers the artist in residence full participation in all aspects of the CAMHLAB residency, including participation in public programming, culmination performance, and/or residency activities, activations, workshops, supplies, participating collaborator fees, etc. Additional funding towards the residency above the honorarium is at the discretion and responsibility of the artist in residence. CAM will also help in documentation of the residency, process, artwork, and events, press release and social media promotion, a feature on CAM's website and newsletters, public program support, etc. Can I sell art or merchandise on site as a CAMHLAB resident? Though we encourage CAMHLAB artists to use their time at CAMHLAB to share their work with potential collectors and buyers, CAM requests that CAMHLAB artists and residents not use their residency specifically for selling artwork or merchandise. Artists are able to sell products or merchandise only at their public programs. Artists interested in selling products or merchandise during their CAMHLAB residency must complete a merchandise agreement through CAM's retail department. Sales are not authorized until the agreement is signed. Please contact CAM shop@cam.org for more information. Can I charge admission to any or all public programs? And also, can I charge admission to invite-only events that are in addition to the required 2 monthly programs? The answer to that is CAMHLAB public programs should be aligned with CAM. Admission is always free. Can I ask for outside monetary or supply donations as a part of my residency, including event admission? Artists interested in soliciting outside monetary or supply donations during their CAMHLAB residency must do so in collaboration with CAM's development department. Donation requests are not authorized until the agreement is signed. And for more information on that, please reach out to YET Torres, CAMHLAB manager, and YET's email is listed to be put in touch with the appropriate staff member at CAM. What is the difference between a CAMHLAB residency and a CAM exhibition? CAMHLAB is an ongoing artist in residence initiative that gives space and assistance to artists. Our goal for this initiative is to directly support artists working in partnership with the museum and Houston Freemanstown Conservancy to experiment, to develop new work, and to cultivate ideas in the historic Houston Freemanstown community. This residency aims to connect artists and audience through catalytic, unexpected experiences of contemporary art. CAMHLAB is intended for the creation and exploration of new ideas and work, both focusing on the artist's creative process and culminating in a project. CAMHLAB is spearheaded through CAM's educations and public programs team. CAM's current and future exhibitions are spearheaded by CAM's curatorial team. What materials and tools are allowed at CAMHLAB Freemanstown? The artist is fully responsible for returning the hub, studio, community programming, and engagement location to its original condition and returning any keys following the activation period. The artist is also responsible for patching holes and repainting walls, sweeping, mopping floors, removing trash, and breaking down installation, etc. as necessary. Therefore, materials and tools should be aligned with this need and the accessibility of each location. And just note, drilling noise will not be allowed except for after hours, which will be 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. What materials and tools are not allowed at Freemanstown? No hazardous, poisonous, oily, and/or flammable materials, open flames, fireworks or candles, spray paint, glitter, stickers, silly string, sand, sawdust, or other similar materials are allowed. And we really mean glitter. Is there a sink or water source accessible in the space? CAMHLAB at Freedmenstown Hub has a mop sink in the bathroom storage area. And I'll make sure to provide image locations and a Google Drive link that'll be shared to all of you following up from this meeting. Can I work on different installations throughout the residency? Yes, you're welcome to work on as many installations or projects during and in line with your residency as you wish. Please include those details in your project proposal. Can I invite other artists to collaborate during a series of performances? Yes, you are welcome to collaborate with additional artists during your residency. Please include details in your proposal, such as number of artists, artist names, etc. The CAMHLAB at Freedmenstown Honorarium includes and covers the artists and residents' full participation in all aspects of the CAMHLAB at Freedmenstown residency, including participation in public programming, culmination performance, and or residency activities, activations, workshops, supplies, participating collaborator fees, etc. Please keep in mind that the honorarium remains the same regardless of number of artists or programs. Are there limitations to sound-based projects? Would you foresee any potential problems with other businesses who occupy that building for sound projects with subwoofers, deep bass, or experimental sounds? Your answer is both CAMHLAB Hub and public program locations will be located in the historic Freedmenstown community. Applicants are asked to consider nearby neighbors, schools, and churches when considering sound-based projects or projects that incorporate sound. No loud or offensive music, noise, or other actions that would constitute a nuisance or would disturb or interfere with activities of Freedmenstown residents. Therefore, sound-based projects are welcome if they are able to remain within the space itself, not bleeding heavily into the adjacent neighboring community. If your public program or residency activities require music or sound that exceeds the level of ambient sound, please notify CAMHLAB with details, including dates, times in which music, sound will be played, so the HFTC, Houston Freedmenstown Conservancy, may notify the community in advance. Is there any flexibility on the 8-hour Thursday through Sunday on-site requirement? Could those hours be fulfilled on other days of the week? Or if I don't fulfill 8 hours in one week, could they be made up in another week, as long as the total on-site hours are filled? CAMHLAB residents are asked to commit 8 hours on site between Thursday through Sunday. This can include the time for your community engagement program. And so the answer to that is ideally, your hours are being committed during these specific dates because the intention is that the project is happening in participation with community members. Community members are most accessible in Thursdays through Sundays. We understand, work that can and may need to happen, and that's, Monday through Wednesday. And so long that you're in communication with us, but we're making sure that your public program offering is happening within this time frame. That's the target that you want to be shooting towards. Does CAM envision that the spaces are open for visitors outside the required open studio hours and events? If yes, will there be someone to oversee the spaces, or do they need to be safe, accessible, and open without supervision? CAM envisions the space will only be open to the public during the agreed upon hours of operation with the artist. If a private visit is required by CAM staff or HFTC staff, it will be in cooperation with the CAMHLAB at Freedmenstown artists and residents. Is there an age restriction to public programs? No. And noting that, that means that the way in which CAMHLAB works on our end is that anyone, any age can come and participate in your public program. And so think through that as you're designing your proposal, that it may not have anyone below the age of 18, and there may be individuals as young as 4 all the way up to 18 that are present during the time of your public program. And that concludes all of our initial questions. I'm going to exit out of here and once again share our perspectives. And then also open up for questions. And so I'll make sure that our chat is available if anyone has any immediate follow-up questions.
And if there was anything that wasn't quite clear from the FAQ, please let us know. We're happy to repeat any answers, as well as to give extra clarity on the answers from the FAQ or any new questions. And you're welcome to drop the questions in the chat as well.
Indeed. Okay. I'll give us a little bit more time for questions to come in. A few things that, we'll just kind of cover again. You can access the actual application itself via the submittable form. And as you're moving through the application on the submittable form, there'll be an opportunity for you to answer these questions directly as it relates to your project to help you kind of frame your ideas around the project. The prompt will be listed there as well, and the selection options for your preferred months that you'd want to be able to participate in the CAMHLAB residency. Please keep in mind there'll be an opportunity for you to upload images of previous works. If you have ideas around what you are proposing, you're more than welcome to provide images or thoughts around that, documentation around what that could potentially look like, and it is not required. So long that we see a selection of images of your work and you've also spelled out, the ideas of your project in a way that we can be able to have dialogue with you on and make determinations on project selections. Another piece of advice that I would offer to everyone that I'm letting anyone know that is interested in this project is if there's just more information that you would feel that would be beneficial as you kind of imagine how you can make a project that is happening in participation with historic Freedmanstown. A documentary that we're suggesting everyone be able to watch is a documentary called Who Killed Fourth Ward. It's a documentary that covers 4 episodes on the history of Fourth Ward Freedmanstown that was filmed in the 1970s. It'll be tremendous context for you, just on the neighborhood specifically, its significance to Houston, but then also its significance to Blacks in the South and Blacks all throughout the country, and its direct connection to Juneteenth. And so when you have an opportunity, please spend some time with that. I'll drop a link in our chat here for where you can find the documentary. Okay. Are there any specific questions on the types of projects that can be submitted? If you're already imagining something and you're wondering, I don't know if a project like this could potentially fit inside of a CAMHLAB, or any questions on any of the other items that we've gone over today.
I didn't have a specific question regarding a project, but I did want to ask, just to be clear, would all public programming also take place within the month that we're, curating our exhibition?
So, and well, yes, and also, yet I'm gonna answer a portion of this question. I also know that there'll be a portion that you'll answer. So it's intended to be a residency, more so than an exhibition. The culminating public program, if you will be your presentation of your work in participation with the community, that can exist as some form of exhibition. It can exist as some form of performance. And I should more so say presentation of work or performance. And then yet, I don't know if you want to speak any further to that.
I would say that the way that we think about it is that as Mitch mentioned, that the residency culminates in a program and that the program is in direct collaboration with or benefit of Houston Freedmen's Town. And so part of the residency itself is interacting with the community. And so we ask that that happen during your residency. Another thing to think about is we continue to work with our artists in residence, sometimes outside of their residency, because things may come up, activities may happen, and we're really creating a relationship with the artist that expands beyond the residency. So there is potential for public programs to exist outside of the residency, though we ask that the programs for the residency happen during your month at this time.
Okay, thank you. That actually clears up a lot. And I appreciate the idea of it culminating in the program. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think, something to think about is that the program can be, many things. It doesn't necessarily have to be a performance. It could be outreach. It could be a community event. It's going to be unique to each of you based on your project.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Any additional questions before we complete this? Where will the actual program take place? So the programs are going to happen at a number of locations. Let me go back to that section. They will exist between Bethel Historic Church Park, Wiley Park, also located in Freedmen's Town. They'll also exist at Post as a potential, as well as identifying any locations in the Freedmen's Town community that the artist may have a relationship to already, and then just providing that to us in their proposal. And also Freedmen's Town Association. And so, the way in which we're imagining is that they're able to happen not necessarily at the museum, but more so in the community. And so we've identified community gathering spaces that are significant to the community. The next thing that we'll be doing is gathering all of the location information, creating images and slides for what these locations look like. And at our follow-up FAQ, we'll be going more specifically over location details. During this initial FAQ, we just wanted to mostly make sure that we cleared up questions as it relates to how the project is working in participation with the community, what the culminating idea should be. But as far as the physical locations go themselves and the programs, they will not happen at CAM specific. They will be happening in the Freedmen's Town community. Does that answer your question?
Hey, Mitch, let me ask you a question to confirm. Are applicants able to suggest locations in Freedmen's Town for like pop-up programs or pop-up performances or anything like that may not be on the list?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's speaking to the question of, if an applicant has a location in the community that they have a relationship to, and they would like to list that as an option in their proposal, we're more than open to learning what those locations are. Just knowing that at that point, we'd want to make sure that we coordinate that location determination with whoever manages that location, and understanding just the artist's relationship to it. For example, sorry.
I was just saying, as a reminder, we're still talking about locations within Houston Freedmen's Town.
Yes, locations within Houston Freedmen's Town. All right, thank you, AKA Rue. Anyone?
Well, I was just going to say that just as a reminder, if you come up with any questions as you're filling things out, or if something comes to mind afterwards, please email us and we can answer your question.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we are 3 minutes away from 12:30. Unless anyone has any additional questions, we will go ahead and end the call. As a follow-up from us, we will send out a notification for when our following FAQ will be. The FAQ again will be specific to location logistics, covering that. In between that this time and that. If you have any questions related to CAMHLAB specifically, or merchandise, Cam Shop, please follow up with YET. Any questions specific to Freedmanstown, types of projects that could potentially happen in Freedmanstown, please follow up with me, and we will keep this going. But
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, please.
Because I realized I was typing too slow. As an artist, and I guess my idea of a residency, I know it's not, it's kind of, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Am I creating work during this time, or is it more so me creating some sort of enrichment situation that's happening? Like, I'm trying to grasp the idea.
I think that both are possible. It's really based on your project interest.
Okay.
So therefore, it could be outreach and you're using your creative outlet for outreach, or you could be using your creative outlet to create a series of work where maybe you're working with the community to get inspired to make such work.
Okay.
Does that help? Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. Because I was trying to figure out how I would word, the proposal, or which direction to go in, because I am, constantly working. So I was trying to figure out what it is that, I would be doing during this time.
Right. So it could be,
and like,
and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just say, just throwing out another example, it could, just reaching, it could look like you're creating a body of work, and your community outreach or your public programs are the moments that you work directly with the community to inspire said work of the histories.
Okay.
So I think that is that the public programs, as we're calling them, are the opportunity to be directly in the community, work with the community, create with or for the community. Sure. And so that can look like so many different things based on how it benefits the project you have in mind. Because the project, we want it to be based on your work and what you want to create, based on, all the prompts that we've given for the residency.
Yeah. Okay. A quick follow-up. So the 8-hour commitment from Thursday to Sunday is, I know it says on site, but is that actually me physically in a place for that amount of time, or does it include me being in that vicinity? Like, if I am using that time to, actually engage, I'm trying, like if I was walking around and doing things within the community, is that considered part of that 8-hour, or am I supposed to physically be in a spot for a designated amount of time?
That is included in part of your 8 hours, that expectation, and so because we're looking at it as a community and not so much one physical location, we understand that each applicant's time can be split between a location where they're planning for their public program to be, but it also requires them to also go and visit Freedmenstown Association to connect with community members. It also might require them to go and visit over at Post, where they're going to have discussions with the research fellow. It might also require for you to spend time over at the African American Research Center, formerly the Gregory School. And so, your work will get to be iterative in the ways in which you're spending time at locations. The intention is that you are connecting with community members, that by the time that your residency is culminated, there is a public facing event that can be a representation of the ways in which you developed those relationships throughout the community. Part of that outreach, and part of the, making sure that you're allowing yourself time to be in the community, is to promote your event or your public facing program directly with the community members. Also, as YET mentioned, if there's opportunity for them to join in the work that you're creating or imagining, then that's definitely encouraged, because the intention is that your public facing program leaves the community with a seed, if you will. And so how are they inspired to do similar things to what you've imagined as a part of your residency that can benefit them long term? So whether that's youth that are participating, or even the elderly, because anyone's able to engage, thinking of your work and having a community approach to it. We're not necessarily asking you to make it all about outreach, because we still want to be in participation with your artistic innovation, but definitely being steered with part of your imagination, considering how is the community included in my final output.
Okay, all right. That makes that clears some things up in my head. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And you're also welcome to break up the 8 hours and what makes sense for you in your proposal. So it's not expected for one to spend 8 hours on one day, but that could look like a 2-hour open studio on a Friday and 3 hours each day out in the community, researching or doing projects, etc. So that can look like a lot of different things. And it could, in my, like how I envision is it could also be consistent where you have a consistent schedule every weekend, or could be different based on how you're working within the community or within your project. So we give the Thursday through Sunday time because that's when, you know, people are able to come with family, people are able to really engage, explore Freedmen's Town. But it can look like, it can be scheduled in a variety of different ways.
Okay. Thank you.
Very well. Well, thank you everyone for participating in our first CAMHLAB at Freedmen's Town FAQ. Please follow up with any additional questions. Take an opportunity to go through those documentaries, Who Killed Fourth Ward, and from there, just be on the lookout for the next FAQ date to drop, which will be specifically covering locations and logistics details. And more, but definitely those things as well. So on that note, everyone have a great rest of your day. Yetter, is there anything final that you'd like to say before we hop off? Okay, great. Well, thank y'all so much, and best energy to each of you as you develop your applications.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.